Before I start giving a short overview of what peer reviews are and a little bit of the context of this, I would like to introduce the panelists who are part of this webinar, and I also thank them for being here today. First of all, Jaroslav Mysiak, who is the Director of Research at the Euro-Mediterranean Center on Climate Change. Jaroslav is also the project manager of this project on the side of the consortium that brings together, in addition to the Euro-Mediterranean Center, the Plinius Center at the University of Naples in Italy, which is led by Professor Giulio Zuccaro, and I also would like to take the opportunity to recognize him and thank him for that. So both entities are partnering with DG ECHO and the European Commission to deliver this program. We're very happy to have them on board. They bring very sound technical expertise, and we believe that this will be very helpful for this program. Then I would like to introduce and greet Sebastien Penzini, who is the Program Management Officer of the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, UNDRR. Good morning also to Montserrat, Marin Ferrer, team leader at the European Commission Joint Research Center in Ispra, which leads the Disaster Risk Management Knowledge Center.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Montse. Carlos Mendes, who is the head of the Risk Analysis and Emergency Planning Department at the Portuguese National Civil Protection Authority.
Morning, everybody.
And Jack Radish, who is Senior Project Manager at the OECD High Level Risk Forum, and is with the Directorate for Public Governance, and is one of our key partners for this program. Good morning to you, Jack.
Pleasure to be here.
All right, so with this great panel, I would like to start with an overview of the Disaster Risk Management Peer Review Program. So I always like saying that peer review provides a scan of a disaster risk management system of a country, and is a scan of both of its strengths and weaknesses. It's an analysis that is carried out by a team of multidisciplinary experts that comes from different countries in the Union Civil Protection Mechanism countries. This brings in an important element, which is an external look on a country or part of a country disaster risk management system. That distance, that is external perspective that sometimes is needed to better reflect on these strengths and weaknesses. I believe that most of the participants connected today have an idea of what peer reviews are. I'm sure that they've seen on our website, we have a dedicated section, also with some examples of peer reviews that we have carried out in the past. So I don't want to dwell too long on this part, but just to let you know, we are currently looking for expression of interest to enroll in the next cycle of the peer review program. Is 2020-2022. We all recognize that this has been a particular year for many reasons, and not just for the disaster risk management community, and we have extended the deadline to the 15th of October. Initially it was 15th of September. Let me just also emphasize that this is a tentative deadline, so we need, for planning purposes and organizational purposes, a cutoff date to collect this expression of interest, but that we can work with you if there is a little delay or something. But just for you to know, 15th of October is the new deadline by which we expect this request. If we can move to the next slides. As I said, the peer reviews is it's a tool that is really embedded in our legislation, in the legislation that is that frames the Union Civil Protection Mechanism. You see here on the slides, there are two articles that refer to this tool is the Article 5 and Article 8, so both on the prevention provisions and the preparedness provisions of our disaster risk management legislation. It's something that we as Commission have been carrying out for a number of years. First one was in 2013. You have the list in front of you, and we have now quite a good number of countries that have undergone this exercise. 14 of them. You'll find the reports online. We have the URL for you in one of the next slides. Just to say that, we also prepared a nice one-pager that summarizes all of this information that you also find on our website. A couple of just key features that I wanted to highlight before giving the floor to my colleagues. Quite some effort went into revising a little bit the framework for this peer review. As I said, we work with 14 countries, which is already quite a significant number. A lot of data, a lot of feedback, lots of lessons learned. We had a very interesting workshop in January of 2020 when face-to-face meetings were still possible. And it was very helpful to hear from countries that went through this exercise. And one of the main recommendations that we got and that we have really addressed in the framework that now Jaroslav will present to us is the possibility to have a more customized approach and to more flexibility in using this peer review framework to zoom on one or two specific risks or aspects of the disaster risk management. So in other words, not to have just by default, the whole of a DRM system scanning of approach, but to really touch on more specific areas based on the requests of the country. So that's something that I really want to emphasize. We also had very good and very fruitful feedback from national experts, who some of them were actually part of these efforts in the past few years, and also some of our key partners, and they are sitting today in this workshop, OECD, the JRC, the UNDRR. So that really helped us to reframe and update the methodology behind this. So more tailor-made. We continue very much with this independent analysis, objective view of strengths and weaknesses. And last but not least, the focus on what comes after a peer review. So probably one of the most important things, one of the most important reasons to do a peer review for a country is to make sure that something happens afterwards in terms of policies, in terms of investments. And so this is something that we have given more importance, but that in the new framework will have an even stronger emphasis. So being able to monitor as much as possible the recommendations that we put forward, that the peers put forward, and also look at the investment aspects of the needs. So not just on the policy, but also real investments, and try to put forward ideas and that then may become an actual investment plan. So this is another of the priorities that we want to emphasize. But without further ado, I would really give the floor to Jaro and to perhaps give us an overview, a quick snapshot of this new methodology. And then, of course, we will have the other panelists, and then I will open up for questions from the floor. Over to you, Jaro.
Thank you very much, Gaetano. I hope you can see me and you see my slides. My name is Mysiak, and I'm the Director of the Research Division, Risk Assessment and Adaptation Strategies of the Euro-Mediterranean Center on Climate Change. My organization is leading or supporting DG ECHO for the peer review program 2020-2022 together with the University of Naples. Well, as the consortium, we are, combining the knowledge of climate-related risk with with geophysical risk and human-made risk and any other type of risk. Ideally, and we have the substantive knowledge and experience to help you to go through the peer review and identify the strong features of your disaster risk management systems, as well as opportunity for improvement. Now, based on the past experience from the previous peer review cycles, as well as basing our work on the new standard of ISO, OECD recommendation, and the proposed legislation of Union Civil Protection Mechanism, we came up with a revised assessment framework for the peer review, and this framework is basically organized along 7 focal areas, focusing as the center disaster risk reduction governance aspect, and then addressing risk assessment, risk management planning, risk prevention measures, risk preparedness measures, emergency responses, and post-emergency recovery. All those topics have been elaborated further down using 6 specific areas, as you see on the slide on the right side. So we have every area as prescribed by the Union Civil Protection Mechanism, further split into specific topics that might be isolated and specifically focused on during the peer review. So by revising the assessment framework, we put emphasis on keeping the framework simple, clear, to the point, providing the flexibility to the countries to choose the specific focal topic of the peer review, and the opportunity to manage the peer review according to standardized process that is comparable across the different countries. So those are our principles. We have 6 thematic areas around the DRR governance, and each area is further elaborated in terms of specific topics. For example, the disaster risk reduction governance, the center core of the assessment framework, is further divided into 6 areas: governance framework, disaster risk reduction strategy, institutional framework, coordination and partnership, disaster risk financing, and systemic resilience. And every area has been elaborated in terms of specific guidance, what to look at, where to look at, and how to combine the information in order to provide a comprehensive overview of how the disaster risk management system looks like in specific countries. Our framework is aligned with the requirements and terminology of Union Civil Protection Mechanism. It is compatible with the regulatory requirements. It builds upon the knowledge collected by different bodies and different institutions across Europe, including the guidance, including the data collected, and the information and the reporting that you have done to European Commission or European Union based on the existing regulation. The framework is ground for a consistent analysis while preserving compatibility to the result of the previous peer review cycles. Now, this is the innovation that we offer in terms of thematic focus. Of course, we have introduced a new full flexibility in terms of allowing the countries to choose specific focus of the peer review in your country. So, for example, the comprehensive peer review program progress or process might address all those 7 areas that I introduced briefly before. Risk assessment might address the DRR governance plus risk assessment hexagon of knowledge. Risk management, prevention, preparedness, and response and recovery might include a different combination of the fields. We'd like to highlight that every peer review is first negotiated with DG ECHO, with the European Commission. The terms of references are put down, what the peer review has to answer in terms of recommendation, in terms of aspect that should be included, how this peer review will be conducted. This will be laid down in the terms of references. During the times of COVID-19 pandemics, we need to adjust also the way how we conduct the peer review, and we are offering the full support for splitting the peer review into virtual interactions and physical interaction as soon as this will be possible again. And once the terms of references are put down as a result of the negotiation between DG ECHO and your country, then we will prepare a detailed plan of the data and knowledge sources that we will look into in order to prepare the initial desk review, and the whole roadmap of activities, engagement with your stakeholders that you help to identify, and organization, institutions, and stakeholders that you would like to involve in the process, the intermediate milestone of the peer review process, as well as the structure of the final product. So the whole process is highly flexible to your specific needs, and it's the thematic focus is to be specified and negotiated before we start. So this is a brief overview about the new assessment framework. The full version will be available soon from this website on which you will find also more information about the peer review process. And for any question or further information, please don't hesitate to use this webinar to ask question, or to drop an email to this email address, or contact Gaetano or Judith directly. Thank you very much for your attention. Gaetano, back to you.